I need to ask, did you bring anything for show and tell?
You kind of mentioned that in your email that
I
might come up.
I did.
I'm a hoarder.
Your order. It's all right. So is my
I've
dad.
said somewhat facetiously, if you ever read of my name in the obituary, get to my garage as quickly as you can. Now, keep in mind, I happen to be married to a kick-ass warrior woman, so you'll have to get past that gatepost. Um, yes, I saved so many things. Everything that a fan has sent me, I've tried to save.
Wow.
I have boxes and boxes and many things that I actually have around the house are from fans. And bless them all. They took the time to actually do something to show their appreciation. And I'm not going to throw these things out. These are incredible. But I do have some things I will show you.
Okay.
And I really did have to think about, okay, what can I choose from? Because, well, here, okay, this is one of our office mugs, by the way.
Oh, nice.
It's one of the ones we used to use in the office.
Oh, wow.
Um, I also have another mug that I made, I think, our first season, which is in my cabinet. And I gave one out to everybody working on production, which was basically it had some sort of the Xena logo, and then it had the name of the person, and then underneath it, it had the god they were associated with. So everybody got one of those. Mine is around here somewhere because I had to make one for me. Um, let's see. What can I show you here? Well, I'll show you this real quickly.
Okay.
Put a couple of things aside. This one was pretty funny because this is everybody knows about the toy. Okay, and of course there's Lucy's autograph.
Mm,
Now this was 1996,
mm.
January 19th, 1996, and Lucy had come up. You know, obviously everybody knows we were shooting in New Zealand. She was in Los Angeles, and so she popped into my office to say hi. I don't know if it was the first time we had actually met face to face, but I had one of these, or I had like three of these sitting on my desk. And she just said, "Do you want me to sign those?" And I went, "Oh, sure," because I like to auction things off for charities. And so she signed this one. The reason I kept it, though, is that, I don't know if you can see it, um, she blacked in Kevin's teeth. And when she did that, she said she blacked it in, and she said something to the effect of like, you know, that'll bring in an extra $50 or something like that. So I kept that one. The other ones I auctioned off.
I would
I,
too.
I have a lot of the toys that we were merchandised. I was looking in a box out there, and for a while, almost everything that was merchandised, they sent a version of it uh, to us. And then they stopped doing that when they realized the merchandising was really going to break open. You know, it was the early merchandising, some of the jewelry and everything. Well, you can certainly recognize that thing up on the
I
ceiling in the
sure do.
background.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
that's
I
one of
was
our production ones. We
looking
used
at
that
that.
one in the show.
That's a real production one.
That is one. That's one we used in the
Wow.
show. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, grab one of those before I left, of course. We have, let's see, let me see if I can do this. This is just a minor thing. This is, I have all my scripts, obviously, and almost every draft of my script, almost. And some of them, I've auctioned off a lot of them, again, for charities. Let me see if I can do this. Stand by. I got the right one. There it is. Okay, so you can see all my notes on this
Oh,
script.
look at that. Wow.
So those are kind of what my scripts look like after one of those writers' rooms. And this one is for Seacrops the Sailor, which became the Lost Mariner. And so if you look through here, you see I kind of bend the pages here when I've got a specific note that I want to pay attention to. This is one of
Hmm.
the later drafts here, but you can see
Yeah.
I've written in the margins there. And
Dog-eared
um,
and scribbled upon and
indeed, that's it. See,
yeah.
I've got some dialogue that's been cut
Oh
out,
my
and
God.
I've suggested some changes here. And again, this is probably which draft? This is the first draft. So this was after our first meeting on this, where we all went through it. We talked about different things that could be done with this.
Mm.
And yeah, so I'm holding it upside down, but you can see little chunks of dialogue come out of it. So I've got several drafts, several scripts like this in this particular condition. These are what are referred to as top sheet notes. You probably know what those are, but for other people, top sheets are general notes about the episode. Um, one of them just mentions one of the characters, Al Trek, which means I got to take a look at something. Um, one of them says a problem. P offers Xena something that I can't read right now because I have horrible handwriting. Then wants to take something. Okay, so obviously I had to change that. So then there's some production notes up here in the corner. Pull top deck pages. Oh yeah, because we had a shooting schedule on top deck. Production schedule didn't match up. So yeah, so
Wow.
I keep those. And sea crops became, of course, as you know, that became the Lost Mariner,
Hmm.
and as a bringing myself back up here. Here I am. Um, as a side note to that, if I can jump in, um, I one of the episodes we didn't do, which I had proposed, we talked about briefly, it didn't happen though, was I wanted to do an episode involving Callisto after Callisto had her godhood powers, to where Callisto decides she's had enough of this world, and she makes a deal with the god Kronos of time to give up her powers to go anywhere else. And she does. And Xena realizes that, this has happened. This was going to be every now and then you do a show that's light on one of your regular stars to give them a break. So this was going to be a Gabrielle light episode. Although I'd come up with kind of a runner that was going to happen in real time for Gabrielle. But the main story was going to be Xena chasing after Callisto wherever she went. And where you ended up at the end of the first break, first act, was New York, modern day. And there's Callisto and Xena in the middle of a street somewhere in the Bronx or something like that, facing off at each other as everybody's looking around, what the hell's going on? And then they start this chase throughout it, and they're yelling at each other, but they're yelling in ancient Greek. So nobody there understands what they're saying. A few people there who understand Greek, but ancient Greek.
Mm.
And so they're running around doing this. And I was going to have, we're going to try to subtitle or not subtitle, we're going to subtitle them, but have them actually try to speak the ancient Greek. And at a certain point, they're running past this flower shop, and there's a man in the flower shop, and he watches them run by, and he goes, Xena? And he runs out and chases after them. And it's Cecrops. Because at the end of Lost Mariner, remember, he was immortal and he walked away to experience life. And my proposal for that was the possibility of making that a spin-off series for Tony Todd as Cecrops in various parts of history as he got involved in what was going on and the people that were involved.
Just have him Forrest Gumping his way through time.
Pretty much.
Oh man. That would have been awesome. I would have
I
loved
think
that.
so.
Ah.
I think so. And Tony, the last time I talked to Tony,
Mm.
he talks frequently about doing that particular episode, working on Xena. He loved that. He loves the Xena fans, and he loved working on that episode.
Mm.
So, but oh well, could have been. Oh, let's see what else I got here. Stand by, stand by. Oh, this is why I brought this one. This was an invitation for our final rap show, I believe, the
Mm.
rap party that we had, which was at Dar Maghreb, which is a Moroccan restaurant in Hollywood. But, okay,
Oh wow.
okay.
But did you bring them with you to the party?
No, these
It's
things are
not.
actually pretty heavy, actually, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact. Um, However, when I was down in New Zealand, I went down there the first, well, only time I went down there. Actually, Rob was down there all the time.
Mm.
I went down and we were shooting. We were crossing between Greater Good to Doctor in the House, or finishing up Doctor in the House, going to the Greater Good. And I happened to be down there for the wrap party down in New Zealand.
Mm.
Um, it was being held at a swimming pool, which was a swimming club. That's where the party was going to be held. But they had to give me a ticket to get in. And the cool thing was the tickets were all swim hats.
Mm.
Renaissance Pictures pool party. And this
Amazing.
check mark was when I went in, they checked it to make sure that, I was checked off on the list. And it is a hat. It actually is a,
Amazing.
I have not
So
worn
did
it.
you? You haven't worn it. Okay, that was
No, no, and do not ask me to do that. Absolutely not, because it's too much of a treasure. So, but see, yeah, I
that,
I hoard and keep so many things. Even I'm looking around here. And, well, obviously back there,
right, of course.
ta-da, and autographed by the author or the
Uh,
artist.
oh, oh, of course. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
then I
good
got my.
likeness, actually.
It is actually, this is one of the better ones. Nicely done.
I'm
And of
impressed.
course, the one with Gabrielle. I should get Renee to sign this one. Actually, I should talk to her about that. But see, if I did, I would auction it off.
Ah,
That's the thing. Yeah, we had such wonderful people working on our show. It was great.
yes. Sometimes you just get that magic, right? And it's just the right group of people all the way
Yeah,
across the board.
referred to it many times as we just had lightning in a bottle, and I cannot understate how true that was. We
Indeed.
just all came together. We were a dysfunctional family. That's for true. That's for sure. Obviously, you'll have differences, and you'll have creative differences and little arguments, but we all, at the end of the day, would go out and have lunch. Well, not at the end of the day.
Well, you
Depends
wouldn't
on the
have,
meeting.
yeah.
In fact, RJ and Liz and I just had lunch about a week and a half ago.
And it was in the middle of the day, I'm guessing.
It was in the middle of the day. Yes. Well, strike. So didn't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
But that was kind of fun rehashing old times back then. So yeah, I got
Cool.
lots and lots of stuff. So,
That's amazing. I feel like we could do a whole show just on the memorabilia. Like,
oh yeah, I should actually put up. Um, I know you've got limited time here. I've actually posted photos of a
take
lot
your
of the
time.
stuff that I have. I'm trying
Yeah.
to see if I can. Let's see. Do I have full control here? If I do, I can do a screen share, but it will take me a moment to see what I can do here. First of all, I have to find out where everything is. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Way people are out there saying, "What is he doing?" Which is true. I don't even know. I think on Facebook, I might have a lot of my stuff up there. I've got a Flickr account that has my stuff on it. I'm just trying to look for something here. You can just stand by with me. I should have prepped this before we got online.
Well, we didn't know how much fun we were going to have. I guess while you're looking for what you're looking for, I just, because I've been telling people for a while that this was happening, um, Sarah Caitlin wants you to know that she loves Joxer's theme song.
Yes. And now I did not write the Jocks of the theme song. Just so
Okay.
you know, that was,
Okay.
I think Ted came up with that on the set. And we used it so many times that we would then add little bits and adapt it as we went
Mm,
along.
okay.
But yeah,
So
credit where credit is due on that particular one.
so it
So
was
that
just sort
one
of
was
like a tumbleweed that kind of kept growing and yeah.
pretty much. I think
Ah,
in when we did, what was it? Well, we did the musical.
mm,
There was um, at the opening when she first goes into Illusia and she runs into
mhm,
Joxer. There was a version of the song that you heard Joxer singing in the background,
mm,
and Chris Mannheim had actually done a creative rewrite of that around Illusia, and I added in just one line, which was "even when you're slightly nude," which of course was the joke line. So That's kind of how it evolved with all of those particular things.
See, I see.
All right.
How's your search going?
Oh, it's Flickr, so I've got to see if I can find anything here that matches that. I'm on here, but the problem is that we're talking on the computer that I don't normally use.
Oh, well,
So
we'll
yeah,
we'll
but we don't have to do that.
do
We
what
can
we
just
can
keep
do.
talking.
We can keep
Yeah,
talking.
we can
Um,
keep talking. I'll do some things in the background while we're talking.
so in obviously in preparation, I went back and rewatched a few things, and I sort of noticed, and I guess I didn't really remember it, but a lot of the sound effects are almost like kung fu movie, like like Xena will flip her hair, and you'll hear a little.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that came out of the old Cantonese style of martial arts movies.
Hmm.
You know, we certainly did a nod of the head toward our camp.
Mm,
We always played up a little bit of the camp levels and the camp ideas. So um, I don't know who actually came up with the idea of doing the whoosh. It might have been Liz. Liz did a lot with post production. Also, Bernie did
hmm.
a lot. Oh, I mean, she handled most of it. So it just came out of their camp somewhere there.
Mm.
But yeah, that became such a traditional thing, whoosh, which was kind of cool actually.
And the fights, like there was, and it wasn't like super loud the way it is in kung fu movies, but it's definitely there. Like I'm watching the fights, and you hear some,
Oh
like
yeah,
that. It
yeah.
was it was fun. But at the same time though, it's so interesting because it was a campy show, but at the same time, you kind of slip some actually very serious stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we went very uh, we went from our launching pad of being kind of an adventure campy type of show
Hmm.
to being a show that we kind of ran the range of what we could do in genre. We did very serious episodes, obviously. I mean, we were dealing with infanticide and fratricide, um, the ripping apart of characters. We obviously ripped them apart psychologically in their own friendship, and then brought them to a base level to try to rebuild them.
Mm.
Uh, the thing that was interesting is that at a certain point, it was like you were watching two different series,
Mm.
but it still worked. But you could watch an incredible drama one week, and then the next week, there's a comedy about being infested by fleas. We had the latitude of being able to do that. I think a lot of that goes back to the very basic thing we talked about earlier, which is kind of like when you're concentrating on the characters, their relationships with each other, their
Mm.
relationships with the world around them,
Mm.
you end up with things that people can identify with. And we have all gone through an incredible amount of drama, and then a few days later, we're out in the backyard having fun, running through a sprinkler, or if people still do that. But our lives are like that. Our lives are not just drama. I always believe that the best adventure and the best drama probably has the best humor, because humor is our escape
Mm.
for intense drama. And humor is a similar release that we have as far as our body reacting to adventure. I was always point out at the beginning of Indiana Jones and the Lost Ark, when that boulder is rolling down there, everybody in the theater goes like that. That's kind of a little thing when somebody tells you a really cool joke. You kind of like get that a little bit of that little rush right there.
Mm.
But yeah, we were able to run back and forth and tackle some very severe issues head on. And we also benefited from the fact that we were basically out of our timeline. I always kind of looked at this as being kind of in an alternate timeline, but we were divorced enough from our contemporary time that it was more acceptable. It's the Star Trek effect.
Mm.
You can, back in the 60s, racism was kind of a taboo subject. You didn't really talk a lot about that. And yet there was Star Trek doing shows about racism.
Right.
And
And then
that's set in the
tribbles.
future. Yeah, it's
Right.
it's not something I have to deal with. I don't have to feel something about it because it's in the future, but it
Right.
touches me somehow because of the
Mm.
characters.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, because I think I think, yeah, maybe that's it. Like in a contemporary, in something that's set in contemporary times, I feel like the tonal whiplash would be a lot more
Yes.
to go from one episode that's an intense drama where, you're dealing with life and death and betrayal and whatever, and then to go to the next one and it's like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tribbles and the
Exactly. And most shows can't do that because they are focusing very much on um, their drama. I mean,
right.
procedurals have a little bit of an advantage because
Mm,
procedural shows, like cop shows that are very procedural, they
mm,
can play the character humor and the character drama as a side issue
mm.
because the plot is so much of what the actual show is about.
Huh.
But with us, again, we were just allowed to go crazy, have fun. Well, not always go crazy,
You
but
did go
explore
pretty
anything we
crazy
could.
though. You
We
did
well, yes.
you did go out there. I'm thinking of I don't remember the name of it, but the one where they're taking turns telling the little girl a version of Cinderella.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
um, I should say one of my favorite because they're all favorites of mine. Was every series when it gets to a certain budget level, we start talking about doing a bottle show. And for those who don't know what a bottle show is basically to save some money. And it's called a bottle show because, in essence, the characters are stuck in a bottle, and all they do is talk about the past, and you see clips from shows we've already shot. So we save money on the production. The really cliched one is everybody's about to go somewhere, and then suddenly they get into an elevator, and boom, now they're stuck in the elevator. Oh no, what are we going to do about that? Um, RJ and I were trying to come up with a bottle show. How could we do something where the majority of the show, or at least a substantial part of the show, had clips in it?
Mm.
And we were at, I think it was House of Blues. He and I used to go there and just break story together. And I think I said something about, I said, well, we have a natural entry into doing our past episodes because Gabrielle is a bard. Telling stories is what she does. And then RJ said something, he goes, well, what if it's other people's stories trying to compete with hers or something like that? And that's what evolved into the Athens City Academy for the
Mhm.
dramatic bards. What is it? Athens City Academy for the performing bards. Yes. That came out of that. It was totally a production necessity. But when we started playing with that, nobody had done a clip show like that because we were using clips from other movies. We were using campy clips from old Hercules movies. Um, we only, like, I think used Xena clips maybe 3 times or 4 times. And then, of course, we capped it off by using a clip from Spartacus, which is the trivia question:
Right.
what does Stanley Kubrick, Kirk Douglas, and Lucy Lawless have in common? They
Right.
all were on Xena.
Xena.
um, so that one was one of my favorites because most people who have seen that never realized that it was a clip show, that it was intended to be a bottle show. It was really just to try to save costs. Now, as for the actual budget, one of the things about bottle shows is they're notorious for costing more money than you thought.
Mm.
Um,
Well, yeah, I mean,
but
imagine like there was licensing on those clips that weren't yours.
well, we licensed the clips from Universal, and we were working with Universal MCA. And also, there is a time limit on the clips. You can use a certain amount of time buy a certain amount of time on a clip
Mm.
from an existing TV show or movie for X amount of dollars. If you go over that, it's more money, and so on and so on and so on.
Mm.
So we were very judicious in doing that. But the whole idea that we were doing things like Stallonius, which was obviously Sylvester Stallone, we were taking off on that, and then every one of his stories were all the action parts. But we got away with that. We could do it, and it wasn't like it looked like it was forced into the series. The reason I really liked that clip show was because it was so organic to the series. that nobody noticed that it was originally to address a production concern.
Well, I love that. I love that story. I'm gonna move into the off ramp of the show, which is typically a speed round.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
I just ask you a bunch of questions, and you can't think too hard about it. You just give your first gut answer. It starts off with some easy questions, and then it gets
Speed round.
a little more challenging.
You know how
So
verbose I am. Quick answers? Are you
quick
kidding? All right,
quick
we'll go for it.
answers. I promise. I
Give it a
promise.
shot. We'll see where
All
we
right.
go. Hold
All
on.
right. Okay.
An actor prepares. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Ready? Okay. So, like I said, start off easy and then so tea or coffee?
Do
Coffee.
my coffee?
Uh,
Do my coffee? Oh, I
uh-huh.
just did.
Okay. Super salad?
Oh, I see. Oh, those are the questions. I actually thought
Yes.
you were asking me to actually take another drink of coffee. Okay,
Oh,
tea or coffee?
okay.
Coffee.
Yes.
Super
Okay.
salad. Well, I'd like to say super salad. Generally salad.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
If
It's
you
not
could
that I
pick,
don't like Star Wars. Star Trek was what I grew up with.
no, same. If you could pick a superpower, which one would you pick?
I wouldn't.
You
I
wouldn't.
I am my own superpower, and that's not ego. That's I don't. Um,
No, that's a
I'm going
valid.
through the list of things that I would
That's a
want, and yeah, there's like
no,
I've got
no,
I'm
not
happy
even like
without the cape. I think that superheroes don't wear capes, but
okay. All right, fair enough. Which Xena character would you want with you if you were stuck on a desert island?
on a desert island.
Yes.
The problem is I parse these questions too much. I know you want an instant response, but there's like I told you, I got several parts of my brain that are fighting over the
No.
same thing. First
Okay.
thing I thought was which one could I eat? Um, but well, I know I'm gonna say Gabrielle. So there we
Gabrielle.
go.
Okay. How about at a table full of lawyers?
How about at a table full of
Yeah.
lawyers? Oh, who would I want with
Who
me
would
at
you
a
want
table
with you
full
at
of?
a table full of lawyers?
Oh well, I think everybody would say Callisto, but I would say Autolycus.
Good choice. How about at a high stakes blackjack table?
Xena.
Okay. Which Greek god would you most want to have a beer with?
I don't drink beer. Um, who would I want to have a Diet Coke with?
A Diet Coke with, then.
Well, I'm going to say Hypnos, but he's boring. Um, Greek gods. I'm going. Okay. No, 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 no. That's not a Greek god. No, never mind. Um, gods. I don't tend to go for the obvious. I'm going to say Athena, um, just because I'd like to arm wrestle her. I'd lose, but I'd like to do that.
Okay. Okay. Which one would you most want to smack in the head?
Which of the gods
Yes.
would I want to smack in the head as my last act on this mortal earth?
Yes.
Zeus.
Again, valid choice. Which one would you most likely make awkward excuses to not hang out with?
Hmm. Awkward excuses to not hang out with. I'm probably gonna. Oh, sorry, Alex. I'm gonna say Aphrodite. Sorry, Alex. And it's not Alex. I love Alex. I love hanging out with Alex, but I think
Right.
Aphrodite would make me nervous as hell.
Right. Like she's not somebody you want to hang out with, but you don't want to just like blow her off and make her mad. So you'd like,
Well, yeah, and I'm also I'm one of those guys that if you have to hit me with a ball peen hammer to know that somebody's flirting with me, and I will make all sorts of mistakes if they're just playing with. So it's like I just avoid the whole thing. I'm gonna go
mm,
hang out with Aries. We can go create a war. It's much simpler.
yeah, 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 I agree. Cool. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you for doing this.
Sure.
I hope we can chat again at some point. Maybe we can do a thing just all about your ridiculous amounts of memorabilia.
I will find those photos. I actually
Find
brought up a
those.
couple of the Flickr ones, but they were actually ones you had already seen.
Okay.
Somewhere I have another web page, but I think on my Facebook I probably have an album of things that are memorabilia things. But
Okay.
yeah, we will. We'll get together sometime. We'll chat
All
more
right.
about this stuff.
Terrific. Well, this is our show, you beautiful nerds. I've been your host, Jen Jackalone. Please hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this chat, and check out the links in the description to find out more about what Stephen is up to. We've got more brain food coming your way, so for best results, insert in brain. Stay hydrated, nerds. Take care. Take it easy and stay geeky.